Hey, I feel like a different man right now. What's up, is a culture detective here investigating your favorite albums, and today I'm going to be doing an album review on a new Panchiko album, Failed at Maths. So, Panchiko, rock band from Nottingham, Britain, the UK, has returned with a new studio album, Failed at Maths. And this is kind of special actually because this is their debut studio album at 26 minutes long. And this is very interesting actually because Panchiko is not your average band. In fact, 23 years ago, they were a band and they released a demo. They released a demo album of sorts called Death Metal, and ever since then they sort of stopped making music. Flash forward to about 7 years ago, some people on 4chan and Reddit found out about the existence of this album thanks to a person who found a bootleg copy, a shitty bootleg copy of Death Metal. But anyways, Death Metal is found out by the internet and it suddenly exploded all over the internet. It became a really huge deal. And essentially, we have the internet discovered Panchiko that suddenly a lot of people are talking about, and they're a bit of a mystery until recently they found out that their own music got found out and they decided to band together again to actually start making music again. And in this case, we have Failed at Maths, their actual debut studio album. Now, what I really like about Panchiko and what they did with their album is that they didn't try to fully capitalize on what they have made 23 years ago, meaning that the moody, sad, electronic rock music style that they went for 23 years ago wasn't exactly present in this studio album, but at the same time it sort of does, because in this album essentially it's indie-tronica, it's dream pop, and a bit of alt rock here and there, but it feels so much more updated. It sounds so much more present, and it sounds like something that would have come out in the current day and time. So I kind of like that. But even so, I would say Panchiko is still a long way from being a successful and a well-oiled musical machine. So we have the album opener, which is the title track with its compressed buzzy synths and its lullaby keyboards and its robotic autotune vocals. While I like that the band is going for a more futuristic direction, the track does come off very stale. I do like the lyrics. I'm not 100% sure what the lyrics mean, but the way I speculated, it's basically about a robot trying to understand love, trying to understand human emotions, thus the very electronic and digital aesthetic of this album. But overall, I think instrumentally, it just sort of comes off dry, a little drab even. I can say the same thing for the next track, Portraits, which I like the glitchy piano loops. I love the production. Definitely a 100% step up from their bootleg album. The warping tones and the sequence beats are really nice. It's just that the melodies and the chords are rather drab. They're rather conventional and average. But they do return to their straightforward British alt-rock roots on the track Until I Know. I really like the moody chords on the album. I also like the reverby, breathy vocals. The guitar riffs are really solid. I kind of enjoyed it overall. And from here on out, the album does stand out quite a bit. We have Breakfast Seance which is a grimy guitar instrumental track. I like the crunchy drums and the bass riff. The track is really rough but also kind of summery. Even though it's simply an instrumental track, I really like the musical craft of the track a lot. Then we have Find It, a song, which is a simple indie-tronica cut with some dramatic yet cold keyboards, compressed vocals. Instrumentally, it's kind of mediocre, unfortunately, but I guess conceptually, this track pushes forth that narrative of like a robot or maybe a machine trying to understand human emotions and finally finding it. Then we have Gwen Everest, which I think is one of the highlights on the album. This is another straightforward alt rock track that is kind of moody with its fiery riffs and drums. I also like the emotional and personal lyrics on the track as well. We have the track Think That's Too Wise, which is a Radiohead esque track with the faithful guitars and driving drums. And sure, instrumentally it is a little derivative, but I still really enjoy it for what it is. And lyrically, I guess the way I speculated, the machine or the robot has finally programmed some sort of human emotions into it, and it's beginning to really, really understand it. And it sort of serves as the conclusion to that tiny concept. The album ending, however, is actually called Rocking with Keith, and it is easily the longest track on the album at 5 minutes and 30 something seconds long. And it might be my favorite track off of the album because this is a blissful instrumental jam out with plinky bells, distorted shrill guitars, drony bass, a very cinematic chord progression, and even towards the end, a glitchy breakdown, which is absolutely awesome. Conceptually and lyrically, it has nothing to do with the rest of the album, but sort of because of that, it becomes a refreshing, shining beacon of light at the end of the album, which I actually kind of like. So yeah, overall, this new Panchiko album is not bad. I totally see the band having potential to make even better music, even more compelling music. Yeah, aside from that, they still have a long way to go. I'm giving the new Panchiko album Failed at Maths, decent 6 out of 10. So, have you listened to the new Panchiko album? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.